Hey, what's up, guys? Russ Anderson, Anderson Security Consulting, AndersonSecurityConsulting.com. On Twitter, it's exec_protect. On Facebook and Instagram, it's Anderson Security Consulting. So, link will be in the description below. Please comment, please like, please consider subscribing if this video has any entertainment and or educational value to you whatsoever. So, and if you do have a specific video request, go to AndersonSecurityConsulting@gmail.com. Write an email to me with the subject and the header and why you want it, why you want that particular subject either discussed or analyzed, and I will do my best to facilitate that. So, Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club did a Donkey of the Day. That's a regular segment of theirs, to try to call out someone who either does or says something foolish in the world of entertainment, typically, or news. So this one was to the rapper Polo G, who was in an interview and made a couple of really foolish statements, and Charlemagne the God called him out for it. And shout out to you, Charlemagne. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people encourage people to display display this type of behavior, and it's actually self-destructive and foolish. So here's what we've seen recently in Los Angeles, and he is in Los Angeles, and so we've seen a couple of rappers who have been deleted. They've lost their place on this planet, and a couple of rappers and entertainers who've been arrested and or detained for carrying weapons unlawfully. So I'm going to give you a little background. Los Angeles, California, is in Orange County. I lived in California, in Los Angeles, in LA. I lived in Hollywood, and I lived in Marina Del Rey on a sailboat back in the 90s. And back then, firearms ownership legislation or statutes were incredibly stringent. Since that time, they have only become more stringent and prohibitive. So what he discussed was he's not lacking in the street. He's got the glizzy on his hip. And again, for those of you from the George W. Bush community, the glizzy is, he's referring to a firearm on his hip, meaning on his person. So odds are, now I can't speak on his circumstances specifically, but the odds are that he does not have a concealed weapons permit for the for the state of California. He does not. So the way California works, California is a may issue concealed carry state, meaning they might give you one if they feel so inclined to do so. So you have to reach out to the sheriff of the county you live in or the local chief of police, and they are in charge of that. And so they're not writing those for you. You're just not getting one unless you have a direct blood relation to the sheriff or something of that. You're incredibly well connected. You're just not going to get one. And even then, it's incredibly rare. So let's just say for all intents and purposes that they don't issue those. So the first thing you've done is you put yourself in legal jeopardy if you get pulled over, which I'm sure LAPD, LA County Sheriffs, they know what your car is, they know what you look like, they know where you frequent, they probably know where you live. If they pull you over and you do indeed have a glizzy on your hip, guess what? Now you just carried a concealed weapon unlawfully in the state of California. You're going to be arrested, and you have to deal with that legally. Next, we've also seen a couple of very prominent rappers who have lost their lives. They've been deleted in California, not having security with them. One was both of them were due to inadvertently revealing their location. One was inadvertent, the other one was purposefully, but not out of any malice. But it still ended with the same result. Rappers who got to California, here's the thing: you might be from a different area. I grew up in the Bronx, and the Bronx is, where I grew up was not a very hospitable area to anybody. So you get this mentality, well, if I survive this, then, I'm good to go anywhere else. And when you were on your own and you weren't making as much money and you weren't a creative artist, that was probably the most appropriate action to take. Most people can't afford and don't need personal security. Now that you are famous and everybody knows how much money you have, and everybody knows that rappers become a very inviting target for a couple of reasons. Number one, they stay very, very much engaged in social media with their fans, and that's a good thing. You need that to grow record sales, popularity, all the rest of these things. I get it 100%. This is the day and age of social media. You need it, especially if you're an entertainer. Next, they're known for doing what? Flossing jewelry and very expensive clothing. So if you're wearing one of your $800 t-shirts, and again, I don't know why people are paying $800 for t-shirts, but whatever. I was at a store, the Trophy Room in Orlando. Shout out to the Trophy Room and people over there. Shout out to Marcus. And there was a denim jacket. I forgot who it was by. In the upstairs section where all the more expensive stuff is. And this denim jacket was like $9,000 for a denim. There wasn't even leather on it. A denim jacket. But whatever. Okay, so you're wearing expensive clothing. You're going to be wearing all this stuff. You're going to be dripped out. And you're going to be wearing, $50, $60, $80, $100, $200,000 worth of gold and jewelry. Your watch is going to be all blinged out and iced out and all the rest of this stuff, and the jewels and the bracelets, earrings probably too. So you're going to have a bunch of very valuable things on you. Then rappers are also known for doing what? For carrying a bunch of cash. I worked a detail for a rapper, and this is years ago, and this guy carried a backpack with just like a bunch of money, like just under 6 figures worth of cash just on him. Why? I don't know, but that's part of their mystique. That's part of their image. So I get it. That's what you got to do. And now you're bragging about not having security in a city that's known for having a bunch of hungry wolves that they don't care if you got a glizzy on your hip. These guys don't care if you're armed. They will come after you if you're armed. They don't care. And that's not just true of Los Angeles. That's true of many cities. That's true down here in Orlando. That's true in, Louisiana, parts of, New York, New Jersey, Detroit, Chicago. Guys don't care. Why? Because, and this is what I try to tell people, a firearm is not a force field. It's not a force field. It's not going to keep you safe from harm. It gives you an opportunity or a chance to defend yourself if they don't get the drop on you. If they get the drop on you, then guess what? You're done. And my advice is just give up your jewels so you can live to fight another day, live to make more money. And we've seen what happens when you try to fight with these guys. Some of these guys are just going to, go pew pew and you may not make it, right? So it's not worth it. So, but then you're telegraphing this on an interview. It's going on social media. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people might see this. People are already discussing it. That's why I'm discussing it. And so now these people are like, this guy Polo G, he doesn't have security. He's bragging somehow like he thinks he's immune to getting jacked or getting his stuff taken from him. Well, we might need to test him. He has a bunch of nice stuff on him. He's got a bunch of jewels. He's got, because you floss all this stuff on social media. Everybody sees what you wear. So now you've given them an incentive and you've given them intel. They now have intel. You don't have security. You got a gun on your hip. So here's what that does. They may try to go after you, but they're gonna take precautions. They're gonna say, wait a second, you know what? We go after him, we got to go in aggressive because he already said he got the glizzy on his hip. So if he makes a move like this, trying to jump bad, he's going for the glizzy. It's a wrap. You see what I'm saying? So you've put yourself in a bad position, a very, very bad position. And so not having security, again, people, mistake not having security with being tough. It doesn't make you tough. There's plenty of guys who are literally professional tough guys who have security. Nate Diaz, no one can doubt his fighting or tough guy credentials. One of the toughest guys in the UFC, in MMA. Very, very tough guy. He can beat you on the feet. He can wrap you up and twist you up like a pretzel on the ground, man. Nate Diaz is a tough guy. He finally learned the hard way that he needed to hire a bodyguard. He did hire a bodyguard. He didn't hire executive protection. He hired a bodyguard. Those are two separate mentalities and focuses as far as what their role is. And we'll go into that in another video at some point, very in depth, give you a deep dive into the differences between the two things. But that's another video for another day. So Mr. T, back in the day, had a bodyguard. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has bodyguards, and I mean he's got big dudes. Like these guys are huge. They all look like they ate NFL linemen that day for breakfast. These are giants. And so and Floyd Mayweather Jr. He's got these, man. Undefeated, the champ, the best ever in my opinion. I'm a boxing fan. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a boxing channel at some point. But So even if say for instance, if you're in the state of Florida, which is a shall issue state, or was a shall issue state, now recently over the past few months, you don't even have to have a concealed weapons permit in the state of Florida. As long as you are legally able to have gotten a concealed weapons permit previously, you can just carry. You can just carry. You don't need a little card that says you can carry. You can just carry. I think it's called constitutional carry. And so even if you did have that and something happens and you use that firearm, say you're successful and you use that firearm. So now you're looking at, did you do it properly? If you didn't do it properly, you might be facing legal repercussions, including arrest and maybe conviction. You could maybe be convicted of a felony or a felony, which would put you in prison for a short time, or county jail, depending on the misdemeanor. Then on top of that, even if you do wind up being successful and you don't get arrested, you leave yourself open. And shout out to Charlemagne the God for mentioning this. Most people don't mention this. The liability section of using a firearm, so use of force. Executive protection specialists especially are taught how to use a judicious amount of force without exposing themselves and their clients to litigation or liability. So say for instance, I'm working for Polo G. Something goes wrong, right? And I have to take emergency and extreme activity, which ends in either someone getting injured or hurt, whether it's with a firearm or not. Someone gets hurt, right? So now he may still have some liability, but it's not direct liability. I have insurance. I have liability insurance. I even have errors and omissions insurance for the private investigation side of my business. Just so you guys know, private investigation, security consulting, executive protection. You need something, just link in the description below. Just reach out to me and I got you. Anyway, so shameless plug. So instead of having, so if someone wants to sue because something happened, they may try to go after you because you got money, but they're going to have to go through my insurance. They have to sue me. My insurance company is going to take care of it. So if they do wind up trying to sue you, then you go from being directly liable to vicarious liability. That's if they can even prove liability. And my job is to make sure that those are mitigated, and license, insurance, all the taxes, all these things factor into a proper and legitimate executive protection service provider. So I'm not doubting your credentials. Nobody's doubting the fact that you're a tough guy. Nobody's doubting that you can take care of yourself. But when you get out of that mentality that you were in, maybe you grew up in a very tough area and you had to protect yourself, and you had to, as soon as you walked out the door, and I know how it is, you walk out the door, you got your shield raised, ready to go, you got your sword in this hand, you're ready to do battle, because we grew up on battlegrounds, and so you have that fight mentality constantly. Now that you are making an extraordinary living, you're an extraordinary and talented artist. So when you were growing up, part of your brain, say your brain's a pie, and say part of it, say a quarter of it was used for keeping alert and defending yourself or being ready to go into fight or flight mode. That should be reduced. You should never walk around in condition white. And condition white, we'll talk about that someday, but there's condition white, yellow, and red. White is oblivious to what's going on around you. Nobody should ever be in that particular state of mind, no matter if you got professional security or not. But reduce the amount of fight or that attention that you focus on self-defense and being a tough guy and everything else, which I'm not doubting, and devote more of that to being creative and making money. Make more money, man. The more creative, the more you produce, the more money you're gonna make. You don't have to worry about this other stuff, man. This is once you reach a certain level of income, you shouldn't be worried about that particular aspect of things. Your life should change in a significant enough way so that you don't have to worry about these things anymore. Let people like me worry about those things for you. That's what we're trained to do. This is our role in life. And you get a shield not just from physical harm, but also legal and litigation harm. So Nate Diaz found out the hard way. He had a very public thing where he choked a dude out. And the guy didn't really seem to offer much resistance. He wasn't harmed. However, I am positive, even though we haven't heard much about it, I'm positive Nate Diaz has or has had to pay a bunch of money. And he was probably required by his insurance company. They're like, yo, dude, look what happened. Now, we just had to pay out a bunch of money, or you're involved in this public thing. Well, guess what? You need to hire a bodyguard. And he did so. And so, you know, these things happen behind the scenes. People don't know about a lot of these things. I've seen it happen. I've been on phone calls with people that said, look, I just got ordered by my insurance company to make some changes. I need you to consult to help me make those changes. And that's another thing we provide as well too. So if you need to make some changes, you need security advice. Everybody doesn't need executive protection or a bodyguard all the time. Maybe you just need it every now and then, but you might need to make some significant life changes. I can help you with that. So, Polo G, I wish you the best of luck, obviously. I really wish you would change your mindset about walking around with no security. You know, you bragged about being the only rapper who walked around without security. That is not a good thing to do. Look at the news. I know we have this mentality, especially coming from challenging environments. We have a great deal of confidence. You come from a very competitive environment. I grew up in the Bronx. The Bronx is incredibly, an incredibly competitive environment. It can be incredibly dangerous. There's always something going on. You got to be on point as soon as you walk out the door, even when you're not walking out the door. You got to be on point even at your house. And so I get the mentality. I understand it 100%. I've been in very dangerous areas working, whether in the military or in the private sector. And so I understand the mentality. And I'm not saying that you're not cut out to take care of that. No, what I'm saying is that you shouldn't be taking care of that. You should hire someone else to take care of that. Floyd Mayweather Jr., even though I'm a lot bigger person than him, I don't want to throw hands with Floyd Mayweather Jr. I'd get pieced up easy. Floyd is nice with his hands, but he hires security. Why? He's not going to be in the street boxing with anybody. You're not getting close enough to touch Floyd. And that's how it should be with you, my brother. Anyway, please, if this video had any value to you whatsoever, please hit like. It's free to you, but it's very valuable to me. Consider subscribing and joining us as we go on this journey. I'm going to be analyzing situations like this and others, either present or we're going to go into the past in several incidents as well too. And we're going to discuss these things and see how going forward we can we can shed light and educate people. But also too, I'm also going to be talking about the executive protection industry versus the bodyguard industry and the differences between the two. There's a place for both of these. I'm not saying one is better than the other. They just serve different roles. I also go into the role of an executive protection specialist and a bodyguard, working for whoever he's working for, whether it's a C-suite individual or a member of a royal family, which I've done as well too. There are differences and subtleties that you need to understand in order to survive, not be embarrassed, and to keep your place. So anyway, it's your boy Russ. Again, if you have any suggestions, email me at andersonsecurityconsulting@gmail.com. Links will be in the description below for everything, as well as social media. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It's your boy Russ. I'm out.